the people who leak. And this entire concept that they went through the story of, hey, we have worked for 6 months and we're trying to give these leakers fake information so that whatever they leak, it reduces their credibility. And I was like, dude, that's such a brilliant idea for any company to do.
Recently, I realized that is actually a dating channel. To see the contrast, how money is being spent.
It's the short form of charisma, basically.
Yeah.
Right? That's the origin of the term.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's
Bro, charisma is not risk. Come on.
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
No.
Bro, what is this denial gaslighting you're doing? Like, it helps you text women better.
Right.
And I shit you not, this is exactly how it works. You take screenshots, you feed it into the app. So the first screenshot is like the guy saying that, hey, where are you? And he's texting his girl, right? And someone else responds, she's busy.
All channel cracked one specific format of doing content.
You're mentioning this, yeah. Tell me more about it. What do you mean?
I mean, we keep referring to Growth X. You open their page, you tell me one video which feels out of place with the specific format.
I have a term for this because I'm crippled by this kind of behavior of picking the new next cool thing, and I like to call it SOS, the shiny object syndrome. Vox is it's like, how do I say it? Vox is like the PayPal mafia. Like, Vox is that pedigree that, dude, you just, everyone that comes out of Vox, so many, Phil Edwards, Cleo Abraham, Johnny Harris, obviously.
Everybody who has stayed in Vox for a couple of years, like,
Correct.
come out on top. That got me thinking, where did all the people who were doing comedy sketches go? I'm like, if you think about it, when was the last good comedy sketch you saw? Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of Indian Content Playbook, where we talk about everything content. In this episode, we are going to talk about a few things that we found interesting in the last month. And hey Adil, welcome to the episode 2.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah. And I can see that you had written down a few things that we wanted to discuss. Why don't you start off with the first thing?
Cool.
See, I had practiced that.
We're laughing for a reason. Why we're laughing is that this is not the first time we're recording this.
Yeah.
But
Also, our previous audio went.
Yeah.
It's just like
just
the gate pass.
perils of doing a podcast. But anyway, so I have a few interesting things I want to talk about today. And they are just in general things that came on my radar, rabbit holes that I went down across the internet when it came to anything related to content and people making videos about something, right? So the first thing is about this phone company, right? So I see that you have a Nothing phone.
Yes,
right?
And I do. It's a Nothing 2A, by the way. I mean, it's a cheaper version.
Although
it's
we will not deny it if you offer it.
If they give money, we'll take it.
We'll take it. But yeah, so for people who don't know, Nothing was founded by this guy called Kalpe. He also, I don't know if he was the founder of OnePlus, but he basically was like the head of OnePlus.
He was the founder of OnePlus.
He was the CEO of OnePlus, founder of OnePlus. And then once that, I'm guessing it got acquired, and he started another phone company called Nothing, right? So the reason why I find Nothing very interesting is because of the way that he looks at marketing, right? And the way that the company as whole looks at marketing. And they have like a very risk-taking approach to marketing, right? Like, they don't shy away from being interesting. And being interesting inherently comes at the cost of people not liking you. Certain people not liking you, right? So they do a bunch on their YouTube. I remember I'm sure you guys would have also seen that one of their initial videos that went viral was him actually reacting to YouTube, like unboxing and reviewing his phone.
Yeah.
Right, which is such a unique thing. Like, there has been no CEO, tech CEO,
at least that we remember of.
Yeah, who has come out and actively as a YouTuber been
and
like,
also,
hey bro, you are breaking down my phone.
Correct. And also it looked like so normal. It's not like full fancy gear, fancy setup. It looked normal. Like
it was not a PR campaign.
Exactly.
Like, generally him and sitting down be like, okay, this is what he's saying, this is what he's not saying, all of that, right? So that obviously stood out a lot, right? But as you look at their YouTube as a whole, you start seeing certain things and the way that they make videos and the way that they think about their marketing, which is very different, right? Which is exactly their latest video. It falls into that exact bucket. So the latest video is about this entire idea that in tech, leaks are a big thing, right? So iPhone 16 came out recently, so like I remember
So I just want to add one thing. I think there was a lot of these around like the AirPod Pros, the new ones that came out with the iPhone.
new
There's-
AirPods came out. I didn't know this.
No, which I think I'm not sure if it came out or it's going to come out, but there have been a lot of videos, like a lot of creators have spoken around. There is a new pair of AirPods coming because a company asked us to do review on the phone cases,
Correct.
like the
I
AirPod
heard
cases
this.
and all that.
I heard this. Yeah. So something similar. That's like indirect, but like leaking is like very blatant, right? So some manufacturer somewhere will get hold of one like mold or one back design or something, or one prototype, and they'll leak it.
Yeah.
And even leaking, like from the company side, it's actually a strategy. So in that video, they talk about few instances where, let's say, Tim Cook is in some like very evident conference and like iPhone 14 or one of these new, it's just like falling out of his pocket, right? And people are like, what is that? That's not like any current iPhone. And the founder or whatever, CEO of Huawei or Oppo, I'm not sure. They have like this tri-folding phone now, and he was in a flight and he was just looking at that phone. I saw that picture of him being on flight, and like it's a tri-folding, and you can see that it's like really big, and they will know that people will identify him, and they'll try to take pictures or whatever. So it's a proper strategy.
Yeah.
So what these leakers do is they find one of these weak links in that supply chain, and they try to get designs and they release it, and they get attention like that, right? And it actually reminded me of if you know of this Bollywood page, Viral Bhiyani, and these other people. Yeah. So actually, I don't know if you like. I recently found this, but these actors pay them to come, pay the paparazzi to come and take pictures to
or at
create
least
that
inform
buzz on Instagram.
Yeah.
Right? So no, it's very blatant. Sometimes they genuinely call people and be like, bro, I'm here, come and take pictures. Like cool. 10 people will come and be like, yeah, dude, I'm here. Like they'll start clicking pictures as if there's buzz.
Right.
And this actor will not have made a movie. Like no one will give a shit about him. But then they're creating that kind of artificial hype around them. Yeah. Right? So it's very similar. So the problem is now for a company who has, let's say, a designer who's worked really hard for like 2 years making this new product, or they're like doing this one innovation of like, I don't know, some camera coming out or some screen folding, whatever, right? So the minute the thing is leaked, then it's kind of taking away from your like all the hard work, right? And this entire story is so relatable, right? And I was thinking it falls perfectly in like the classical story structure. Of like there's a setup, there's a conflict, there's a resolution. Within the conflict, there's like a antagonist, there's a protagonist. So obviously the protagonist here, like the main hero is nothing themselves, right? And the antagonists are like these people who leak. And this entire concept that they went through the story of, hey, we have worked for 6 months and we're trying to give these leakers fake information, right? So that whatever they leak, it reduces their credibility. Like it damages their credibility. And I was like, dude, that's such a brilliant idea for any company to do. True. And as like a YouTube nerd more than anything else, right? Like I really appreciated the fact that a brand went out of its way to make their content interesting, right? Because if you think about it, it wasn't their highest viewed video. It did not probably yield a lot of conversions. But in the grand scheme of things, it made me like nothing a little bit more. Right? To the point that I'm coming here and talking about it. And I don't know how many views this podcast will get, but at least we are willing to put this out there.
Yeah.
Right? That, hey, this was cool. I found it cool. Yeah. Right? So...
Bro, I am a... Like actually converted guy. Yeah.
You're a user.
I am a user.
Yeah.
And all this happened because of how transparent they were about the products they were building. It felt genuine. When you watch their videos also, you go to their YouTube channel, it feels genuine.
Correct.
You go to their website, it feels fresh.
Right.
It's not some copied bullshit.
Yeah.
Most pages feel like it sometimes, yeah.
And I think that is such a new, it's not new, but like that's such a bold approach to content where you are willing to go out and take risks.
Yeah.
And as a viewer, you don't find that very often, right? I think off the top of my head, like Zomato comes to mind that does this very well. Like that whole entire bucket, right? Zomato, Swiggy, Zepto. And I think they feed off of each other very well. Of like one of them does something bold and the other kind of
I think
that
branding
ecosystem.
Teams are like very in line with this competing mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think, this reminded me of, there was like a roast of Zomato that happened recently. I couldn't find that full video, weirdly. but they called like a bunch of comedians to roast Zomato as a company.
On their 10th anniversary.
I think something like that.
Yeah, Samay Raina
There was some
and a bunch of
event and
people
like a
were
bunch
there,
of people came and they roast. And I was like, dude, that is so fresh.
Yeah.
Right? No, like who would think of that?
Yeah.
Right? Ki, bro, you come, roasting as a thing has been really popular, so why don't you come and roast us?
Yeah.
Right? And knowing that we have like a place in pop culture, this makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Right? So that kind of blew my mind and I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
So that's my first story. What's your first story?
I was always getting these recommendations of this one channel called Schmooze. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but Schmooze. And I always got these. I think you have also come across it. Basically, what they're trying to do is they are putting out videos. Like the whole premise is they'll find boy or a girl and they'll ask if you find somebody interesting, we'll get you out on a date and we'll pay for it.
Correct.
I was like, oh, this is like any other channel, probably like a new type of content that somebody is trying. Only recently I realized that is actually a dating channel. And to see the contrast, how money is being spent. Like obviously like Tinder is such a big company and their positioning play and all that. I think the money spent is so disproportionate on it. And I was seeing how many like impressions and all that happened. I think as a channel, what these guys have spent is probably a fraction and very close in impressions.
Right.
And
overall,
I think, and the overall engagement was also quite high. It's not one video, right? The type of content that they were making and also how it fit like genuinely with the kind of app they were. That was like a brilliant play, I would say.
Yeah.
They matched the numbers on YouTube with Tinder, Bumble, Hinge.
Really?
Yeah.
Or the long form or short form?
They only do short form. In any case, like Bumble and Tinder don't put out any content. Like I've checked also. They are not very frequent with any form of content. Only Bumble has been trying to be a little more like social media active. They put out a bunch of these YouTube videos, but nothing that can show numbers like this. They have videos which has hit like a couple of like 10 million, 15 million views and all that. I could barely see one Bumble video who could do like a fraction of it.
I think there are a few things at play here. And I also happen to have a dating related content thing that I noticed next, which I'll talk about.
Right.
I think a few things. One, I feel like Tinder and Bumble are a little too big to get into social media. Right? And there is I feel like as a brand that big, your risk is so high that doing it really limits you to, hey, I am a Tinder. If I'm doing something, I need to be doing it at certain scale, right? Which I would imagine how like a brand manager or CMO would be thinking about it. Right? Which really limits you on what you can test because your filter is always going to be, hey, I need to hit certain numbers, right? Or hey, our content needs to stand to our brand. Which actually works against you, right? Again, Zomato has been one player that has done this really well with their like Go Out series, right? Like they started with Go Out, whatever, Delhi, Bangalore, and one more, Go Out Mumbai, and
Chennai
they were able
also,
to, I guess, and they were able to scale it to like all cities.
Yeah.
Now I don't know exactly what happened in the behind the scenes there, but that was like an amazing play for like Zomato to take over like the short form Gen Z side of things, right?
I think we should actually call somebody who is like related with this.
Yeah, we should do like an entire episode on Go Out only, and like
and if possible, we should be able to call. If we are able to call somebody, that'll be great.
Yeah.
From the team.
Yeah. So if you're watching and you manage Go Out, please let us know.
Yeah.
And I think again, like for a really big brand, right? Tinder and what?
Rolling. Cool. 1 second.
Rolling. Cool.
Take your legs back a little bit.
Cool. So I think Zomato has been the only big brand which has been able to get into content like at its scale, be able to invent and still be able to like succeed with that content with like their Go Out. I don't know what you'd call them, like series or Go Out sets of pages.
I think it's page only, no? They have different pages on Instagram also.
So they have one for almost every tier 1 city, tier 2, like a bunch of tier 2 cities.
Like Go Out is a different IP altogether.
Right.
From Zomato.
But at the same time, I feel like other companies may not be able to do that unless they have that deep expertise. Because Zomato has been doing content for a while.
Yeah.
right? Like since Sahib Baba Ali's time, they have been doing like YouTube content and other content.
They have been very experimental also
Correct.
with what they were doing.
Yeah.
And also, as far as I can remember, Zomato probably has been the first player who did the specific messaging also. Like how their messaging looks now. I think they were the guys who started that trend of being like your close friend.
Yeah. This
Why?
was actually this guy called Akshar Pathak. If I'm not wrong.
Akshar Pathak, yeah.
Akshat or Akshar. Akshar Pathak. He was the basically like the brand guy who created this persona of, hey, we want Zomato to be like your big brother.
Yeah.
Right? And he
Or
used
best
to be,
friend.
and
Like it
he-
should sound somebody like you.
Correct. And like how you get the notifications and the way that it's personalized. And he used to be really big on Instagram and Twitter, like talking about whatever. And he's, I think, like a really great copywriter. So that comes out in whatever he's talking about, that, you know, puns, and it's like less than 20 words, but
Right.
like packed with some sort of entertainment or value or whatever. So I wonder what he's doing. We should call him on the pod.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I think that is one aspect of it. And another aspect is just, I feel like for a lot of brands, right, and looking from the outside in, your product is not, it's just not interesting enough to do interesting content. And that's okay. And you should just explore other avenues of marketing, right? And I'm telling this because the next thing that I want to talk about is this thing called Riz GPT. Have you heard about it?
No.
Okay. So Riz, for people who don't know, is like this Gen Z term for
Bro, wait,
charisma.
we'll read it in the dictionary. Riz.
Riz is the word for charisma.
I know. We'll read out the dictionary meaning for this.
You want me to read it out right now? Okay.
No, it's because we might miss out on the explanation of the word, I would say.
So it's like style, charm, attractiveness, or ability to attract a romantic or sexual partner. So it's
That is Riz.
it's the short form of charisma, basically.
Yeah.
Right. That's the origin of the term.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's
Bro, charisma is not Riz. Come on.
No. Yeah, dude. It is.
No.
Yeah. I'm not kidding.
No.
Bro, what is this denial gaslighting you're doing? Yeah,
No.
dude.
But see,
Dude, the
I think
word
it
Riz is neologism that originated as an abbreviation of the word charisma. So,
it's like a trendy way of saying charisma.
exactly.
But but the context is very different, I would say. Charisma is a little more.
It's a Gen Z way of.
Okay.
The equivalent that I would say is, I remember when I went to this fancy school, and they didn't used to say yes, they used to say no shit.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Got it.
So basically this guy, his name is, actually let me find his name. So his name is Alex Lehman.
Okay.
Leiman. And he made an app that helps you it helps you text women better. Right? That's basically what it is. So you take screenshots of your messages with someone,
Right.
and I shit you not, this is exactly how it works. You take screenshots, you feed it into the app, and it
Right.
tells you exactly what you need to say to
Riz her up.
riz with it.
Yeah, okay.
Right? And like it works, and the way it works is, he explained it like they identify like using colors and whatever, that on the left is the girl and on the right is, because that's how texting works.
Correct.
And they're able to identify, like pull the text information from it, and they put it into GPT. He has like a custom prompt,
Okay.
and then it just like spits out what you should say.
Huh.
Right? So the fact that he made it, and it's completely paywall, there's no free version.
Oh.
It's completely paywall.
Which is good.
So from like a business standpoint, it's a fucking amazing case study,
Yeah.
because it is paywall and people are actually buying it. Like its
Yeah.
annual run rate is $2 million. So the guy makes like 180K per month from this app, right?
Yeah.
So it's no joke.
Yeah.
3 people built it.
Huh.
I'm going into the business side of things, but whatever. What I really find amazing is the TikToks that he made to promote it.
Yeah.
Right? So it was basically called Riz GPT before, and I think because of some copyright thing, they renamed it to like Plug AI or some shit like that. But I'll call it Riz GPT for like the novelty of it, right? So his TikToks are a fucking masterpiece. I'll tell you why. So the top pinned TikTok, if you go to the Riz GPT page,
Right.
is a carousel. It's not even a video. Okay. And the carousel is a series of text. So it's text screenshot. You know how there was this trend where companies and pages used to plug their own business after like a series of text messages.
Right.
Where it was like, oh, are you there? And then like you're going through the story of two people falling in love, and then one person breaks his leg, and then the last girl says, oh, are you okay? And the guy says, oh yeah, I am fine because this guy made me a haircut. Right? Some shit like stupid thing like that. And amazing because retention is so high. Right? So this guy uses the same concept, but now the stories are all about getting revenge, right? So the first screenshot is like the guy saying that, hey, where are you? And he's texting his girl, right? And someone else responds, she's busy, right? With like a picture where you can see vaguely that, hey, the girl is kind of sleeping or whatever. And then obviously the natural question is, who the fuck took this picture, right? And then you go through this timeline of, hey, he figures out within like 3 images that his girl is cheating on him, right? With this guy. So now he is like, okay, I'm going to take revenge on the guy, right? So he finds, and multiple videos like this, extremely viral. He finds the sister of the guy. He uses Riz GPT to Riz her, and then he sends a video back saying, ki, bro, I'm with your sister now because you cheated with my girl. And dude, mad viral views, insane. And it just
because it has a protagonist, it has an antagonist.
Exactly.
Also.
And he's even playing into like the algorithm and what's working, because he's just not blindly making videos. He's making carousels. So it's like a video carousel, right?
Yeah.
And looking at that, just like it just impressed me so much because it's a Gen Z product. Right? He is leaning into the core problem that people have, which is not just, hey, I'm not able to talk to girls, but it's also he's adding a storytelling spin to it. Right? That, hey, I'm having this problem. Right? And I want to like force fit myself into some equation somewhere. And the plug is so subtle, right? And so organic that it just like, no wonder that it went so viral, right? And I think when we talk about, hey, you have to be good at content and all of that, right? I think it's things like this that really work at scale. And not like, hey, we'll sit down, make videos, which is also there. I mean, I'm not discounting that part. But it's also these very natural, authentic types of content that tend to do really well then this is the caveat, for these unique apps, right? So using such a strategy for, let's say, I don't know, like a Pantene or a Unilever or Asian Paints or one of these bigger brands will not work, right? Because inherently the positioning is different. The product itself is very different. And it makes sense for a boring product to have boring marketing, right? As, I don't know, ironic as it sounds, because like there's only so much excitement that you can fit into like a paint, right? And yes, you can do other things around it, but you can't make it like cool for the Gen Zs to use, right? Which I think that's kind of some of the examples that we've talked about today. Actually, on that paint example, I don't know if you've seen, Asian Paint started this amazing series about reviewing people's homes. So they will go into someone's homes and be like,
and
hey,
Ravichandran also did it. Bro, that is 8 years back, bro.
Correct. And they'll go into, who's that squash, who's that female squash player? She's really good and she married the cricketer.
Squasha?
Yeah.
Bro, are you speaking about tennis or squash?
No. Squash, dude. She's a squash player. She married the tennis player. But whatever. She married a cricketer, whatever. So like they'll go to these celebrities' houses and they'll review. And that I think is a great kind of content strategy, because you're not talking about paint. You can't make paint sexy.
Cool.
But you can make the thing that you need the paint for sexy, right?
I have a different take on this. I've seen the videos. I think the video, like the idea is brilliant, but the video somewhere lacks like novelty, I feel.
Really? I watched a bunch of these videos because I was like, dude, fuck, that's really cool.
I watched a bunch of these videos. It's great, but like I can't see like this organic brand plugin. I feel like somewhere it's like any company could have done it. There's no like brand specific placement. Specifically, I've watched Anirudh's. It's more about his studio and all that. If you see, he shows his studio also. If you have seen his studio, you understand there is no paint required in it.
Maybe. Yeah.
And like maybe, and like like his house is great and like the whole idea is nice, but somewhere I didn't feel it's like it's not that great of a band fit, I feel. I think it's a signature, no? Every time we do an episode, there is this one ambulance siren that goes.
This will always be there because this main Manipal road, no?
Ah,
So you will
true.
always find that there.
No, in the previous episode there is one phase
Correct.
where we go like this and it's like, it goes.
Dinesh Karthik, correct. Dinesh Karthik. Yeah.
Dinesh Karthik. He's Google expert. He's sitting that side and like.
Dinesh Karthik is very like because he plays for RCB. I have known for him.
Bro, I didn't
There
know.
was a
his-
mad story between their relationship
Dinesh
also,
and,
no?
Vijay.
Correct.
Vijay.
Yeah.
No,
His
but-
wife went with him and then she
Hey,
fucked. A mad thing happened.
No, we are not speaking about all that here. This we'll do after the podcast. No.
We went
No,
and
we'll.
Google a lot.
In
Correct.
between, if you see a cut that is happening right now, it's because they were speaking about things that shouldn't be spoken here.
Out of syllabus.
Out of syllabus. This we'll do another this.
But
For
yeah,
all
so
this.
that was definitely one thing that I really found interesting, right? Because I'm kind of someone similar in the space where I like to just like build random shit that I find
Right.
cool. And if you are, let's say, like an indie hacker or you just like to make these things, right? Content is a great way to distribute it.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's one way to look at it, hey, like very mainstream, hey, I'm part of this startup, I'm part of this corporate, I'm trying to do like traditional marketing, right?
Right.
But when you're just trying to like hack something together, right? When like your code is very jugadu and your app is very jugadu and like you're just like trying to put things together, you don't need things to be perfect. You just need it to work.
Yeah.
And I think strategies like this are amazing because they just work. Like they're not perfect. He will not have a like plan in mind and like a schedule and okay,
Yeah.
fuck, I need 30 days of content. No, he will be like, bro, this works. Let me just try to maximize it right now, which I really respect. And I'm kind of like a hacker jugadu thing myself, so I can appreciate what went into
Right.
it. But that's my second story.
Yeah. Actually, like last episode also we were talking about like how, these not explainer, what was that again? We were talking about movie recaps. Like
Correct.
What is it called?
Summaries.
Like, summaries.
Yeah.
Huh. Movie summaries, we were talking about all that. And there are a couple of channels which I like generally follow also as opening these channels. They have like 2-3 million, 4 million subscribers and all that. I was like, hey, this is great. Like they do one thing well and they are able to build that to scale. I slowly started going to some of the channels I knew. One interesting, this is like a hot take, I would say. I'm not sure if this is exactly how people think about it, but all channel cracked one specific format of doing content.
You're mentioning this, yeah. Tell me more
Yeah.
about it. What do you mean?
They do, like specifically, they figure out one way of saying things that people find interesting. Like they start, like they say, their story is specifically one single format.
Okay.
Everything they do fits in that format. They just move it into different like.
Do you have like any other examples?
Any channel you take, like when you think of Dude Perfect, let's say, they started off doing trick shots. When you think about all the things that they have done, it's always has been about
Everything
like
has been
tricks,
trick shots.
trick shots or something that has been like you can't do this or like it'll take a insane amount of time to do it kind of videos.
Right.
Everything they do, even like they are getting into like a little more mainstream sort of challenges and all that. Like they do, finding gold in like a gold area. Like they go gold panning and all that. But still, it's like they are trying to do specifically things that are very impossible to do or takes a lot of time. And how are they excelling at that? It's been their recipe for, and I think like that is what people go back to also. I mean, we keep referring to Growth X. You open their page, you tell me one video which feels out of place with the specific format. Like they have cracked explainer videos. Every video is an explainer video. It can be a short, it can be long format. It's an explainer video at the end of the day.
Right.
You crack the way you tell it.
Like the
and
bread and butter is that one format that worked for them.
Exactly.
That kind of makes sense. Like if I think of other large successful creators, right? Like for example, Ashish Chanchalani, he did skits.
Yep.
BBK Vines, he did one-person skits.
Yep.
And this is the log line that we talked about, right? Like your log line should be consistent throughout.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. Like if you're known for one thing, you should only do that one thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, it's not about not being able to do other things. I think they do try to do other things, but they don't really work out. I've seen
Because
that
you're
happen.
known for that one thing.
Yeah.
Like people are coming to you for that one thing.
And I feel it takes that whole process, going through that whole process again to be able to do something new.
Correct.
That's also like people who have started other channels. It's because that format didn't fit into this channel, and it's like really
MKBHD,
killing the angle.
MKBHD, his podcast, and then the
Yeah.
studio channel.
Exactly.
The three different things.
Because if he did the podcast on his like tech channel, I think it would have like sort
Yeah.
of like
It
really
wouldn't have
killed the
worked.
engagement of the channel
Correct.
as well.
That's not what people are going
Yeah.
for. Yeah.
And
that's
when
a good
you
point.
when you think of it, until they scale to like some scale, like say like 2-3 million is what I've generally seen. Until then, people are not really experimenting with their format. They figure out one format, they really work on
That's actually a very
work
good
on it, reach.
observation. I was so my next point will be about Alex Hormozi, and I love Alex Hormozi, right? The amount of information about like business and entrepreneurship that he's given people is unmatched.
Yeah.
And one thing that he always says is, and this is more in like business context, but he always says that when you pick up one thing, you do that one thing for one person.
Yeah.
Don't try to do 10 different things.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it's very easy when you're starting out to be like, hey, this is cool, but let me also do this.
Yeah.
That should not be there. Like focus is about saying no to things. And I have a term for this because I am crippled by this thing, this kind of behavior of picking the new next cool thing, and I like to call it SOS, the shiny object syndrome, right? Where the new shiny thing that comes about, you leave everything else that has been working that's now kind of a little bit boring, and then you just like jump onto that, right? And then it's like a constant hamster wheel of trying new formats, trying new ideas, trying new this, trying new that, and you're not zeroing in on the one thing that will work for you. And it'll always be one thing, which totally makes sense.
And this, like, the whole thought also came because you, like, whenever you are working also specifically, you are always thinking about 10 things, like you mentioned. And also, I've seen this syndrome happen with companies that don't do well with content. They are trying so many different things. They're
When
not
is this
even
episode coming out, dude?
Huh?
I have some hot takes that I don't think I can say right now.
The second episode, I think, like we discussed, we'll do it on a separate thing where we'll talk about all this.
Right.
Karthik Saib, but yeah, that is one thing that I understood. So they are trying to specifically excel at one specific format. They will, like, once they like something that they are putting out, once they think, like, they get confidence in something, they go 100% in it. They really crack that specific format. I think Dude Perfect also, like any example you take, any channel, Vokes also for that matter,
Correct.
They started doing geographical
Journalism, but with better visuals.
Journalism, better visuals, better storytelling.
Yeah.
They stick to that. They just did that.
Correct.
Geopolitics, anything that you take, they just did one format, one specific way, excelled at doing it, really killed it, because that is the kind of time you would need to build a specific format. It's like your favorite TV show, bro. It's like I'm going there because I feel a certain way.
Actually, on the note of Vox, did you know that the founder of Vox, not exactly the founder of Vox, but the lady that created that style that we see of like After Effects, animations, things like that, her name is Joss Fong.
Joss Fong.
Yeah.
Okay.
She has started a new channel called How Town.
How Town.
Right? With another ex-Vox producer. Dude, Vox is it's like, how do I say it? Vox is like the PayPal mafia. Do you know the PayPal mafia?
Yeah. Like Flipkart. Same.
Flipkart is like the Indian PayPal mafia. Yeah. So like Vox is that pedigree that, dude, you just, everyone that comes out of Vox, so many, Phil Edwards, Cleo Abraham, Johnny Harris, obviously, everyone that has
every
you
senior
touch Vox
person that
and you become like
everybody
brilliant.
who has stayed in Vox for a couple of years, like
Correct.
come
And
out on top.
This lady is like, she is credited with that kind of foresight and knowledge and all of that, right? So she started a new channel, which is all, it's very, I'll just read you the title and you'll know what the channel is about. So the latest video is How Do Scientists Know They Hooked Up? I don't even know what that video is about. How they actually calculate the calories. How Twitter breaks the news. How do they know Earth's circumference? How accurate is COVID's death count? What your dog sees. right? They've only done like few videos. They
Right.
already have I think 200,000 subscribers, and it's only going to like grow from here,
Yeah.
right? But like I just find it really interesting. Like I'm a huge
Yeah.
fan of of this lady,
Yeah.
of Joss. But anyway, so we talked about the second one, which was formats and
Yeah.
all of these things. The third thing that really stood out to me is Alex Hermosi. Right now, Alex has made a really strong pivot, and he talks about this in his videos, from talking about just like generic business content to very specific business. Like he talks about, if you're a business owner, how to grow as a business owner. Very specific, right? And I kind of align with that content because I am also trying to do something
This is the
similar.
third topic that you had written.
Yeah, this is my third topic.
Okay.
Huh. So this aligns with what I'm also trying to do, like as a person, freelancer, whatever, in business and my career, right? And in one of his videos, he actually broke down how, and let me tell you the name of the video. He actually broke down how he got all of his subscribers, right? So the title of the video is "How I Gained 7.8 million followers in 40 months, 6 key lessons," right? And this as a video I find so fascinating because he kind of strips away all of the creativity aspect of things that really resonate with us.
Right.
Right? What do we say? Oh, bro, it's interesting and he talks about none of that. He just gives you like certain frameworks. And he's like, bro, apply this anywhere, it'll work. And this is specific to educational content, so there is like a nuance there. But I found this so interesting that he's able to articulate himself in these steps that are actually actionable, what we talk about. Can you have things that you can do as opposed to... So great example he uses is that oftentimes people are told, bro, like you don't have charisma. You don't have riz, right? Or you don't know how to talk, or you're boring or whatever.
But like you're not camera friendly.
Yeah.
We also say it sometimes.
That's not actionable feedback.
Correct.
And when he said this, I was like, fuck, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Actionable feedback would be, hey, if you want to be charismatic, you need to make eye contact for at least 3 seconds at a time. Don't let your eyes wander here and there. Look at the other person, right? Switch between his eyes, right?
Switch between his eyes.
Like you don't look at one eye, right? You keep on switching. Then whatever, like you sit straight and you nod at when the other person is saying, like he just tells you a list. And it makes so much sense because when you look back, and I mean, I don't know about charismatic, but if in general, if let's say how to be an extrovert, or you know how to get into a room and not like be completely ignored, these things I have personally faced and I've kind of figured out how to do them. And I'm like, dude, fuck, that's exactly what I do. That's exactly like the things that I did not do and now I do them and it makes sense. Yeah, now it works for me.
Yeah.
Right? But when you are telling this to someone, you never break it down into that fundamental level.
Yeah. You
Right?
don't think about it
Yeah,
that
you don't-
fundamentally yourself.
It's like
I feel.
be an extrovert. And it makes sense that, dude, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? Like,
Yeah.
it's not actionable for me to do.
True.
Right? So this entire video was like that. He gave steps. So the first thing he talks about was this thing called proof, plan, promise. So if you have an educational channel, you need to give proof about what you have done. You need to give a plan and you have to promise what people will get out of it. So the very first thing that he talks about in his video is that I gained 7.8 million followers in this much amount of time. I did these 6 things and by the end of this video, you will be able to do them too. And I thought, fuck, I spent so much time thinking about hooks, thinking about, hey, like this is what you can do, this is it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to like break your head on, oh, am I generating curiosity? Oh, is this like, will it be curious, or, you know, will people be interested to hear this, or, you know, will they stick around? No. If you are an educational creator, if you are trying to build personal branding or whatever, like some sort of authority, and you have done something, first go out and do something. Don't come and try to be like, bro, I'll make content. And go do something.
Right.
And when you come, like he says, do epic shit, talk about it. And how do you talk about it? You say what you did, you say how you did it, and you say how you can help other people do the same.
Correct.
And I just thought that was so that was so simple. And literally in that video, he's like, dude, are you with me so far? This is what I said in the hook. And we're already at step 2, this is what I've given you. And I'm like, that makes so much sense. Then he talks about this thing called, and this is the second thing that really stood out, is that why is it important for you to niche down? Right? So now he niched from like generic business content, entertainment type things to just education, right? It's important because when your viewer has high intent, he watches the video for longer. And I think this is something that like anyone who's watching, who makes content, you're a brand manager, you're anything related to educational content, you should just like sit with this for a while. If I come to a video and this, let's say this video, right? This is like an hour long video, if not more. I watched the whole thing multiple times. If the same thing were to be packaged a different way, right? I'm a millionaire, do these 10 steps, right?
In a more entertaining way, you mean?
More entertaining way. Like the angle was not, like the position was not educational, it was something else. I would not have watched it for that long.
True.
And that's exactly what he says, that why does your packaging, especially on YouTube, matter so much? Because then you are positioning yourself to the people who have high intent, and just because of that intent, they will watch it. So that means, let's say on one end of the spectrum, you have Mr. Beast who's just like shocking you, right? He's shocking you. He's creating, $1 hotel versus $1 million hotel. And you're like, bro, $1 million hotel, I'll just watch it, right? So it is like a very strong push, right? Where you're trying to push this thing onto someone and they're just like, okay, fuck, it's here. Let me see how long I can watch it. Versus this is a pull. A pull is people are already wanting to be better at, let's say, health, wealth, relationships, all of that. And since they already are gravitating towards these things, you just being there and positioning yourself that, hey, you want that, I have it. They will just watch you for longer. And I thought this was such a subtle yet important way of looking at content, especially educational content, where like it just literally, you don't have to think about, hey, does my thumbnail look amazing? Does it have like a new angle? Am I creating a new format? This is this thing with me. Like every client that I worked with, I'm like, bro, new format banayenge. Why? You shouldn't do that. All you have to do is make sure that you are showcasing what you will get. So for example, we'll show the thumbnail on screen. The thumbnail to this video is 0 on one side, 7.8 million on the other side, right? And the title has that reinforced. The hook has that reinforced again. So I was looking for, hey, I want to figure out how to be good in content for my business. He gave me exactly what I was looking for. There was no curiosity gap. There was no, if you do these two things and then there will be one gap and then you bridge that gap and then payoff will be there at the end. No, fuck all of that. It is literally information, education. I have it. You need it. This is how you get it. Simple. Right. And I just thought that was such a genius way of looking at educational content.
Yeah.
Which really blew my mind.
Yeah.
And again, you can see my notes on Glasp. I really like Glasp. So subtle plug to Glasp. But anyway, so that's my third.
We should mail Glasp now, bro.
Done.
I feel like.
I think there's a way to get like affiliate code. So like you can just put it in the description or something.
Yeah.
But
because
anyway,
I personally, I've started using Glasp.
Really?
I'm not very, like, I'm still trying to figure out how it works and all that. But I
love it.
But it's great.
Yeah.
Because one, it's free. It's not like Notion where
Correct.
they'll give you a little bit and be like, pay now.
Dude, Notion's like both, man. If you don't pay, like suddenly it's like, old
bro, you don't know
gone.
when your space got used.
Tiles
also.
are gone. And I'm like, bro, I don't even
bro,
remember where I used tiles.
What? Yeah. Where are these tiles?
Correct.
Yeah. And they'll not tell you also what is what.
Correct.
That I get.
So yeah, that was my third story. What's your third story?
Bro, it's not exactly a story, but I was just trying to go through, like generally I was just scrolling through YouTube. Google keeps pushing you these memories like 5 years back, 6 years back and all that. So I had taken a screen. It pushed me a image of like a laptop picture that I had, where it was completely filled with like Hindi comedy skits, basically. It was basically Hindi comedy skits that was like full page. So I had taken a picture. That got me thinking, where did all the people who were doing comedy sketches go? I'm like, if you think about it, when was the last good comedy sketch you saw?
When you say comedy sketch, like, do you mean these Ashish Anchalani type videos?
More or less. Because they were doing great videos like 3 years back. Like this was a picture 3 years back actually.
I think people just like fell out of it, right?
It's like, where did they go? It's
That
like
is a
so
good
many
question.
people
I've
that
never
we have
thought about
seen
it.
are like, interesting that I haven't seen most of them.
Right.
Like there are still people who do, but it's like their
Not
content
as
has
prominent as before.
like their content also has become too meta, I feel sometimes. And they're just doing brand collabs after brand collabs. I was like, what happened in between? That was something that like question popped like I was like either they are working with Tanmay, I'm guessing. Or I don't know what they're doing. I want to know what they're doing actually.
Right. That's a
Very,
good
very
question.
interesting.
I think I feel like this. So there's this theory, okay? There's this theory that every creator has a 7-year lifespan.
Hey, this Nas had spoken on
Maybe.
WTF pod. No, he
Maybe.
was saying no, like every 7 years the whole dynamic changes.
Correct. Yeah.
Because
I
you're a
don't
new
know if
person.
Nas was the one that I knew of it before he spoke
Okay.
on the podcast, but I just heard this somewhere on the internet that every creator has a 7-year lifespan. Right? There's like a very popular consultant called Manish Pandey. He also talked about it. I went to some event with him like 3-4 years ago, and I think that also follows. If it follows for creators, it also follows for trends, right? Because if you think about it, creators are kind of the torch bearer of these trends, right? So, for example, now on Instagram you'll have these Gen Z creators like there's I think some girl called the Rebel Kid, and
Yeah. The name
there's
does-
Agastya Shah and all these like kids, right?
Right.
20, 21, 22-year-olds, and they are the ones who are doing like this vlog slash what's this type of content called? Lifestyle content. Right?
Huh.
That's what they are doing. That's what the Gen Z is generally watching. Now, obviously, 7 years down the line, they are going to be older. Their audience is going to be older. And the trends or the things that are popular will also change.
Yeah,
dramatically.
कितना साल देखेंगे lifestyle.
Exactly.
हाँ.
It'll change, right? So now, with that being said, you have to grow with your audience.
Yeah.
So now I would imagine that Gen Zs who are spending a lot of time online, and this is pure speculation, like some kid who got his first phone in like elementary school and he has been using technology for the longest time, probably the skits and the things that really worked for us may not be hitting the spot for them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, sure, relatability and all of that is always there, but I don't know what like Gen Z kids are watching. Probably not skits,
Yeah.
right?
mean,
Or
it's-
at least not to the extent to which they were evident when we were
Yeah.
like. So I think this happened on that Vine transition. All these people were there on
Yeah.
Vine, and then they came on.
I mean,
YouTube.
yeah, I'm really trying to. I spent some
Maybe
time
they are,
actually
dude.
figuring out what
Maybe-
they are trying to do.
Maybe there are, but like it just like it's very difficult for you to find it because they're
Yeah.
not making content for you.
Yeah.
Like, does that make sense? Like, if let's say now a typical Gen Z kid went to school in COVID, and they have this entire thing about, oh, I was in COVID, and they relate to more. How will you train your algorithm to show you content around that? You can't because you're not interested in it.
Correct.
So I think as great as internet is, it's also very, very fragmented, where each of the fragments are not connected to each other. And that's why doing research and being able to find these trends becomes a superpower. Because if let's say you are having a company that caters to, I don't know, like people who are between the ages of 50 and 60 who are women staying in tier 2 India, how do you find content that they're watching? Because they are watching something,
Yeah.
right? It's not like they're not
I mean,
watching
I
content.
see my mom watching content, so I know they are watching something.
They're watching something,
Yeah.
right? I don't know anyone who fits into that criteria. So I don't know what the fuck they're watching, right?
I
So-
know to some extent because my mom keeps sharing me reels.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
To some extent, I have an idea. Okay, this is
But
what she
there might be
watching.
other
Huh.
cohorts that you don't know
Correct.
about.
Huh. 100%.
right? There might be like cohorts of people who are over the age of 70. They're watching something.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is.
True.
So the minute you're able to understand what it is and kind of dig that out, that I think becomes a huge superpower for like strategy people who are getting into content of like, what are they watching? How can I create something similar? So that's an important one. But that's a good question, dude. I think it's worth going down that rabbit hole of like, I know BU Nick is one that his videos keep popping on my feed.
Yeah.
Typical
here
like
and there.
relationship type
Yeah.
of videos.
I don't think like the content specifically has evolved that much from the time
Yeah,
we
it's
were
been pretty
started
much the
watching
same.
it. Yeah.
I think there's also a glass ceiling to it, right? Like how
Yeah.
much will it evolve?
Yeah.
Right?
True.
Like I mean,
कितना grow करेगा?
correct. I remember when Dice Media and Scoop Whoop and these things were doing
Filter
like that,
copy.
that sketches thing
Yeah.
on long form
Yeah.
of like what happens when your younger sibling goes to college for the first time. Actually,
Right.
you know what would be really cool? I've always wanted to find like whatever these script writers or strategists or brand managers at these media houses and ask them, ki, bro, how do you find these relatable ideas? because some of their ideas are just way too relatable, like way too specific. Of hey,
Right.
what happens when when the younger sibling gets married and goes to their in-laws for the first time, or what happens when you meet your husband's older brother for the first, and it's
Right.
like, even though I may not be in that position to relate directly with it, I can still watch it and be like, hey, bro, it makes sense. Aisa hi
Yeah.
hoga, right? But when I sit to think ki, acha, can I come up with these ideas? Can I like come up, even if I have an idea, do I know what they feel like? I'll be like, dude, I have no fucking idea what
Yeah,
they
bro.
would
Coming
feel
up
like.
with relatable ideas is like
Super difficult.
yeah, it's a talent in itself.
Yeah. And I would love to sit down and talk to someone, ki, bro, how the fuck do you do it? Like, what
Yeah,
is that
true.
strategy? What is that like 1, 2, 3 steps that you do? Because I'm
100%.
sure there is some sort of like tactical angle to it.
Yeah.
I think that would be like a very valuable thing. Maybe you can do like a future episode about this.
Yeah.
Um,
Or we could get somebody who has like more.
yeah,
in-depth
exactly.
knowledge,
Like get someone on and like do an episode with them. Ask
Exactly.
them how they do it. But yeah, that's all I have. Is that it? Is that the episode?
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
Yeah, nothing else. I think we are concluding the episode right about now. This is like the end of the episode. Most people do. This is the end of the episode. Thank you guys for watching until this long. I mean, I'm not sure what the time is yet.
It's
What
about
is
like 50. It's about an
It
hour.
gets cut down to whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for hanging around for this long. And if you feel like we added some value or anything, please drop a like, subscribe, and also comment what was the best part that you felt, who had better points to say. That would be great. We'll run a poll also in the comments who brought in better points. But see you guys in the next one.
Peace.
Cut!
Maybe you can add, like, if you want to know something about some topic, please, like, put it in the comments, something like that.
They'll figure out. I can't do this again.